I may be late, but it's time for peak. What's up, guys? I'm a Pencil, and here to do a breakdown. So live. Well, this isn't really a live reaction because I already read the darn chapter. I'll admit, I wasn't sure because notably the past couple chapters haven't been too heavy on the titular character. But I was like, you know what? I gotta start now because these chapters come out very infrequently anyway. So I do want to hop on the review train as quickly as possible. But yes, here we are to review chapter 134 of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, or is it Frieren? I want to say Frieren because it reminds me of like Mr. Freeze, based on the F-R-I-E. I literally looked up the anime to try and figure out, and I've heard Frieren and Frieren both in the anime. I'm gonna say Frieren. And no, I'm gonna say I'm gonna flip back and forth. All right, y'all tell me in the comments which one's correct. If both of those are wrong, correct me again. But let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact: I do need to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact: y'all know this manga's peak. I feel so stupid because, like, notably, I don't follow the anime world. It's so weird, you know. I'm an anime manga content creator primarily, and honestly, I barely follow the manga world either. I blame it on busyness, but like, no, it should kind of just pseudo be my job at this point. Like, this does help me in real life, so I should just follow it better. So Frieren, or Frieren, whichever happened. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be switching back and forth. Frieren, when it came out, I heard about it. I think I saw 1 or 2 things about it, and I was like, whatever. And then I kept moving. In fact, I specifically remember seeing one image. It's from the anime's early montage of Frieren's journey directly after the end of the Demon King. I think it's like the chapter 1, essentially. And I saw one image of her from that, and I was like, oh, not really my thing. And then left. You want to know how deep in I am now? You really want to know? You probably don't, but it's too late. I'm going to show you. Where is he? Where's my son? Okay, essentially, I already made a Frieren OC. I have his entire backstory written out, and I've already done multiple bits of concept art for him. I'm already concept arting for, like, the next year's avatars, and it looks like it's not in either of these 2 schedules. But essentially, yes, Frieren has, like, this is not it either, but Frieren has stolen a portion of my mentality. It's why I've been mentioning it more and more in videos, like, passively. I've been seeding in the fact that I have read it, and reread it, and I reread it again. I'm sorry, I really like Frieren. I should have just looked at the anime and, like, properly got the name down. But essentially, I really, really like it. To the point where I do regret not hopping on it sooner. Especially considering where I looked at the time where the anime came out. So if I had hopped on it then when the first episode of the anime came out, actually, you know what? I'm not too mad because they just got off hiatus. And really, it is a bi-weekly series for the most part. Like, it's not, and even then, that's very inconsistent. So maybe it's a good thing I waited. But regardless, let's hop right into chapter 134 of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. Ugh. Chapter 134, Traceback. Now, I'll admit, this is a very volatile scenario we're in right now. Obviously, I don't expect any of our 3 major characters to fall. Frieren's not falling. Fern's not falling, and Stark's not falling. None of those characters are. I don't see that vision. Even with as many Shadow Warriors have been set up to exist in the Empire, which I do love. I do love how we were introduced to one Shadow Warrior and their entire family in their little village. And when we finally got deeper into the Empire, we are fully buckling down on the idea that these Shadow Warriors have been a thing and only been evolving over time. But with that being the case, I don't think any of our main casting crew is going to get got. But the real question is Sere going to get got? That's the real question to me. Because part of me is like, no, that's way too great. Like, that's too much. And then essentially you'd be asking for open war, right? And I guess that's what the Empire's doing anyway. And apparently they already slaughtered one of the 3 great mages of history. And it was just the same guy who's coming to slaughter Sere. But once again, Sere is the great mage. Like, the great mage. Like, master and mentor to the great mage, who was master and mentor to Frieren, the other great mage. So, like, I think that's it. Because I'm not sure if we know who the other great mage is. I'm pretty sure it's just Frieren. Frieren the Slayer, right? Or Frieren. I don't know which one it is. I've been... In my head, I always say Frieren, so I'm going to be saying Frieren. If it's wrong, let me know. I will try to 100% correct Frieren. But I think it was Frieren, then the other great mage they mentioned, and then Sere. But obviously there are tiers and levels to it. Even currently, Frieren's like, no. No. But... and And you know, the reason I find it so funny is the fact that we still don't know how old either of the two characters really are. Frieren has not aged in 1,000 years. And Sere is already established to be a well-established and very powerful mage 1,000 years ago. So we have no idea how old either of those two characters are, but current Frieren is still like, no, she would absolutely give me back shots. Like, if the worst came to worst, Sere would give me back shots. And it's implied, it's not confirmed, but it's implied by the interaction that Fern has with Sere, that ultimately Sere is the one who taught, even though she's notably the warmonger of the crew, essentially, or at least of the elves we met so far. She's the one that seems purely focused on, like, hey, I like battling conflict. Let's keep the battle and conflict going. That's why Flame was like, you know, Frieren is the mage of a peaceful era, honestly, Sensei. You're not really gonna defeat the Demon King yourself because you like conflict, you like evolution, you like the evolution of magic, and that comes from conflict. So you won't do that. Kind of like, essentially, Sere wants a state of constant war and evolution. And with that being the case, we see the dichotomy between her and Frieren, but with the idea that Frieren, where's it going? Sorry, the Fern interaction. The reason, I'm sorry, my brain is leaping all over the place. The reason I think Sere's even more powerful than what we initially expected is because I assume the one who taught Flame to suppress her mana to fight demons was most likely Sere. Mainly because Fern takes one look, her first glance at Sere, and is like, your mana's unstable. That's weird. That's the first thing. And for that to be implied, the only reason that we've been established that mana instability comes about is very specifically because you're restraining your mana. Now, is she restraining to the same degree that Frieren does, where essentially it's like, no, nowhere near. She's consistently flexing your mana to the point where it has that radius around her, which caused so many people to fail the test in the first place. But if she's restraining her mana, and we have yet to see Sere really, I'm not going to say we haven't seen her try a little bit, but even when we were watching my favorite villain, Mocked, go up against Sere, it was very specifically the idea of like, before she could even get remotely serious, or Mock could even truly get remotely serious, the other humans showed up, the other mages showed up and created the barrier around Mock. So like, Sere is clearly tiers above, and we've yet to see her go all out. So I'm presuming the Shadow Warriors are going to fail because of that. We may finally actually see one of the great mages go all out. Even, I know technically we've seen one of them go all out, and Frieren going all out in the dungeon, technically in the sense of her clone, which is Frieren going all out, but I still don't even buy that. Despite her using the apex of magic, I still don't think that was a Frieren at full output or full power. You may be wondering, Pencilman, why? Pure headcanon, I'll be completely honest with you. But since we haven't seen any of the great mages go all out, and I feel like we distract too much from the main point of the story if Sere actually died. Because do you know how much chaos that would cause? I don't know. I'm intrigued, though. Especially considering we're spending so much time with these Shadow Warriors and developing them as characters. I highly doubt that Yamada-sensei is going to spend all this time just slaughtering them all. Well, at the same time, slaughtering Sere is a real big deal. But sorry, I've been yapping so long about like hypotheticals and intros and get my brain lost. Let's actually hop into the chapter itself. So we open up, we do get to see that Waloris, or Werlos, I'm not sure how to say any of these characters' names. I'm so sorry. My OC's name is, I'm switching back and forth between audio and O audio. Part of me just wants to slap an O at the beginning of his name, but the other part of me is like, don't. Just call him audio. Because the O audio looks weird written down, and audio is just shorter. But then again, O audio is a specific reference to something versus audio, which just sounds better. So I don't know, I'm going back and forth on that. But with it being the case, smell change. Werlos, the vagabond, who was formerly a dwarven warrior. Very, very interesting. I do still wonder what happened to the point where he had to become a shadow warrior. Probably gambling. I don't know. There's probably a reason he's a vagabond, even if he, legally speaking, shouldn't be a vagabond. He's probably in some sort of debt to the Empire. But with it being the case, we see that Clematis, gosh right, but Clematis says, you're soaked to the bone. What happened? I fell into the river. How unfortunate. You must be cold standing outside. Come warm yourself. Please, come in. How are things going, my dear friend, Werlos? Actually, am I tweaking? Is this a new chapter? I don't remember any of this. Wait, I may have, darn it, I think this may actually be a pseudo live reaction because I do not remember any of this. I'm thinking of a completely different chapter. When did this drop? I have no clue. It's going to be the first review, though. If that doesn't tell you how disorganized I am. Now you know. Let's see. Please, come in. How are things going, my dear friend, Werlos? I've confirmed that the escape route from the time of the Unified Empire is still fit for use. Is that so? The report I received said otherwise. It said that the midway point is completely underwater and impassable. Routine says it's due to the snowmelt. I'll admit, some of the names are weird. Like, if I had one complaint about Frieren, once again, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep flipping back and forth. Some of the names are weird. Like Kraft, who's the elf, the one, despite him being the only male elf I feel like we've been introduced to in the entire 134 chapter run of this manga. I always forget his name for some reason. I always associate him with Stark for absolutely no reason. I mean, they're both warriors, but like, Stark is a traditional warrior, while Kraft is a warrior monk. I have no idea why my brain is like, those two have the same name. But, I don't know, Fern? Like, when I heard some of the characters' names for the first time, and I was reading them, I was like, am I tweaking? And like, when I saw because I saw Routine's name, and I was like, am I reading that wrong? But no, that is Routine, and I have not seen this chapter before. But I do remember this interaction. It's when Iris, the bar girl, catches the arrow with her teeth, and she reveals that she's completely immune to poison. So I think they may have just read last chapter, and this drops randomly sometime today. But interesting. Let's see. Routine says it's due to the snowmelt. She's very knowledgeable, you know. Oh, is Routine? Wait. Hold on a second. Am I getting these names confused? I'm not. After a recent fumble with another manga I started reviewing, Gachikuda, I've lost all confidence in my name ability. I'm pretty sure this is Routine. Yep, that's Routine. That's Routine. Oh, I thought that was a god. I'm sorry about that. But let's see. She's very knowledgeable, you know. That's why I went to check it out myself. That much water is nothing to a warrior. As long as you don't lose your bearings in the dark, you can get through it in 20 minutes or so. Sometimes you can't tell if it's up or down, so it takes willpower. That's good to know. It's clear to me that only you can do it. Once again, that is interesting. I'll admit, the other races in Frieren have been like, they're very fluctuating on how much information we actually get to know about them at a respective time. The things that we know about the other 3 sentient races is that demons have similar biology to humans, but it's more so in the external appearance and not in the internal appearance, to the point where certain magics don't work on them effectively unless you're extremely good at it. So things like hypnosis magic and stuff like that does not work because despite demons appearing mostly human, they are fundamentally different from humans. Like Solitaire, it's a hot debate for me. Who's my favorite villain this year? Is it Mocked or is it Solitaire? Solitaire? I'm not sure. Solitaire has an E on the end of it, so I think it's Solitaire, the nameless great demon. She brings the perfect example of just convergent evolution, where ultimately orca whale and a shark both look like fish, but only one's a fish, the other's a mammal. And that's kind of the same thing with humans and demons, or really humanoid species and demons, because notably Frieren, once again, I'm flipping back and forth because I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to say. But I still remember back in the not in the Aura, even in the mock battle, it's mentioned like, you will never be able to get along with us humans. But I think the main reason Frieren says that is because elf biology is shockingly similar to human biology, except that they're seemingly, one, naturally much more proficient in mana, and two, have much longer life expectancy. How that happened, no idea. Where the rest of them are, we don't know, but we do keep incrementally getting introduced to more and more elves. They're just very, very rare. And same thing with the dwarves, where they are extremely long-lived, but clearly nowhere near as long-lived as elves. I feel like the average dwarf lifespan may be around 300 years? Or maybe the average is like 200, because Ison's already pretty old. But then again, do we know how old Ison is? Hold on a minute. But have me checking stuff. I feel like I need to get educated right now. Ison, Frieren. How old are you, buddy? How old are you? Yeah, he's 100 plus. That's the thing. One thing that I will admit is that Yamada Sensei is very, very vague about the ages of any of the characters. That's why I say we don't know how old Frieren is. We just know she's over 1,000 years old because she hasn't aged a day. We have yet to see baby elves. And of course it's because the elves apparently they do not have the same reproductive instinct as humans. Another fundamental difference between them and humanity, where we're like, once we hit puberty, it's kind of like, reproduce now, and that's why a lot of people are the way they are. But for elves, they don't have that, and that's why we haven't seen a baby elf, and that's why we don't know how long they spend in their respective stages. For all intents and purposes, Frieren may still be a teenager. We don't know. Sarah seems to be like in her young 20s, but she may be 3,000 years old. We just don't know. Everything's super duper vague. But let's see. But I'm interested. So it looks like Werlos is the only one who's like, hey, may not be usable to you. But I can get up out of here if things get too crazy. So once again, I feel like he may not be the loyalist to the Empire, even though he did fight for them. Let's see. It's clear to me now that only you can do it. Please, take a seat. Let's work out a plan, shall we? You are our greatest asset amongst the Shadow Warriors. It's a huge advantage to be able to maneuver behind the enemy's back. I want to discuss the best way to strategically play this piece. You. Interesting. How about a cup of hot water? Sister Lore, bring us some tea. It's like, once again, like the names. But then again, I read Sense for the longest time just as Sense, the mage with the long hair. It's Senza. Or at least according to the anime clips I've been hearing. And Werble, or Weirdabel, or which is what I would have pronounced the name as, it's Verbal. I don't know. I forget what they call it. Is Ubel just Ubel? I'm not sure. Ubel? Maybe. That's the thing. I need to like sit down and listen to the anime. That's why I'm bad. Typically, I try not to mispronounce things that do have proper pronunciations. So I just need to sit down and like listen to clips of the Frieren anime and for a while to make sure I get all the names and their pronunciations right before I go in depth on the manga. Fun fact. Where are you? Where are you? I'm pretty sure. Well, no, not pretty sure. I know because I did them. I've been wanting to talk about Frieren for a while. Oh, well, here's my son. In case you're wondering, what he looks like. That's my baby. That's my baby boy right there, Oreo. Once again, the only thing I don't know about him is his name. I know his power set. I know his history. I know who he's fought. I know who he's going to fight. I know everything about that. I even know his role in the grand scheme of the narrative. His name, though, still working on that. But that's my son. And where is? Oof, something's wrong. Rough. And I ain't talking about no dogs like the ones that are barking in the background. But let me see. Where are they? I know they're not this deep. They are hiding. But I've drawn the main trio. The only ones I'm missing, I'm like halfway through a sane drawing. That's about the only. There we go. Yeah. So like, don't be shocked. You know, like this. I've been prepping. This is a very bad fern drawing though. I don't know what else. I'm still trying to practice my digital art, but I was struggling. And I don't know what happened. I think my own art style kind of took over because I really don't like. I'm gonna glaze Frieren's art style. In fact, I'm literally stealing bits of it. But like, here's the unfinished same drawing. So like, spoilers for all the videos that are gonna be coming out. But trust me, I'm in deep. Some would argue too deep. But let's see. Bring us some tea. Help yourself. I'm heading out to buy some wine for the ceremony. I forget, but I'm pretty sure she's a Shadow Warrior as well. I think all of them are. You think I know where the tea is? See you later. So I'm assuming she's gonna poison that wine. but let's see. She doesn't seem very fond of me. And you don't have any idea why. There are too many possible reasons to guess. Anyway, you say I'm the greatest asset, huh? Clematis, you're the only one who thinks highly of me. These days, that youngster Low is far stronger than I am. And hey, once again, it's hard. And Frieren scaling. Sorry, I'm going to keep flipping back and forth. I'm going to stop. I'm just going to start saying one. I feel like I apologize every 3 seconds. But Frieren scaling is weird. Because, like, we know characters are strong. We know some characters aren't strong. But, like, there's no real, like, easy scaling chains. We know we have some statements to prove that some characters are stronger than others. Like, there's no doubt, at least at the moment, that Sere is the strongest mage in the verse. And Frieren's likely number 2. That's it. That's all I got. And then, like, we know Mocked was apparently he was the strongest of the seven generals of destruction, or whatever they were called. But, like, okay, what about the rest of them? Like we know the peaks. And I'd say we know some of the bottom, but really we don't. Once again, Frieren scaling is weird. But considering he took down one of the 3 great mages, yeah, I presume he's real strong. Though he doesn't have depth perception anymore. So he's probably in a little bit of trouble. At least Well says both of his eyes. Let's see. He's far stronger than I am. How cruel is the march of time. That is, and you know, it's always interesting, right? I wonder, I've always like sat back and wondered if I was truly long-lived, like truly properly, maybe not immortal, but like an elf in Frieren, where I'm basically immortal, where ultimately, I remember when Sere gave up Miss Miss Stella, the curse reversal spell, she very specifically, when asked, "Are you sure you want to do that? You're going to expose yourself to all curses again." Sarah specifically told the mage at the time, like, "Yo, I am literally so her, and so undeniable, and so immortal that the 50 years it would take to learn, I think it's like literally 50 years it would take to learn that spell are nothing to me. I will just do it again." So, like, clearly, time would probably, like, my whole perspective on life would change. That's probably why Frieren mentions, like, hey, elves simply just find something to occupy themselves with. Because ultimately, after a certain point, when you don't have reproductive instincts and you don't necessarily have any sort of romantic feelings, like your Frieren, nothing really changes in life. So you kind of just have to figure something out. I don't know what my passion would be. Probably this. If it was like our modern day, but in the past, like, I have no idea. Probably just exist, fight, stronger. Probably it. Just to see. Let's see. Didn't you used to say you'd never retire? I don't want to sound like an old man, but I wish I was 10 years younger. Which is interesting. Because, like, what does that mean in our time? Like, I always, for example, demons in Seven Deadly Sins live 1,000 years, right? So, whenever I'm talking about them, I always scale them down to 1/10 to explain how old I would think they are in our years. So, like, for example, Zeldris from Seven Deadly Sins is 252 years old. Now, he's a weird exception because he's a royal demon and they can live upwards of 1,000 or billions of years, actually. But for the example, we'll pretend Zel's a normal demon. So, like, he lives 1,000 years. Knockable lists him at 252. I scale it down, assuming humans live 100 years, even though our life expectancy is way lower than that. And I just say Zeldris is 25. If you scale it down to the actual life expectancy, which I think is like 75 now, I believe you just take a fourth off. So Zel will be about 18. About. Once again, I'm really 18, 19. If you just take off a fourth. Like 18 in like 3 months. That's poor math. What does my brain do? Yeah, 18 of about 4 months is how old Zell would be. But for the dwarves, 10 years younger, if their average lifespan is 200. I mean, I guess a year and some change. If he's just now leaving his most valuable combat age. Because Ison admits he's much weaker than before, but he's still clearly very powerful. So, we assume they're 200-ish years. Lower that down to 100 years. Just have it. That's the thing. I don't actually know his real age, though. So, I know he's at least 100 years old, and he was in his prime warrior time 80 years ago when he fought those battles for the Empire. But honestly, I don't actually know how much that would be. Probably, though, if we're going with just the 200-year span, it's probably like a half a year for us. Not half a year. Doesn't make sense. 10 years, 5 years. So, like, five years past for a human that's, like, leaving their prime would definitely be helpful. I'd assume. Let's see. Your abilities are still monstrous even now. I mean, presumably, yeah. So far, every single dwarf we've seen is insanely swole. From Ison to Old Man. I literally just reread. What's it? The old guy who guards the village for his long-lost human wife. I think those are the only two. Even the guy who made the bridge is actually really, really strong. Because presumably he did that by himself before the village showed up. But, let's see. Now, help me look for the tea. The tea is in that cupboard. How do you know? I borrow some from time to time. It gets chilly in the winter. You've been breaking into here to steal it? I mean, Shadow Warrior, dog. Gotta keep his training up. Let's see. Before the eyes of the goddess, you'll end up in the underworld and it'll be your own fault. How many people do you think I've killed? You don't get it, Werlos. I'm joking. Feel free to laugh. Actually, like, they're both Shadow Warriors, dog. Like, of course, no, it's interesting, right? I wonder if he does have any magical abilities. Because, like, in this universe, Priest is, like, a class. Which comes with special perks. So, like, can he actually use healing magic? I presume so, because Frieren isn't necessarily devout, but she apparently can use some of the scriptures. It's just magic, but a different type of magic. But I bet he doesn't have, like, any sort of the goddess's chosen favor or protection that someone like... Himmel. Ison. Frieren. Gosh darn it! But see, I'm telling you, I'm bad with names. He's literally Fern's adoptive father. What is his name? Hero Party. AIDS. Hero Party. Header. Why did I forget Header? I'm telling you, I'm horrible with names. I've been reading. What's wrong with it? But let's see. You're something else. Let's see why people hate you. And, I get it. But I understand why he would play it this way. Obviously, the only people they can really identify with are each other. So the only people he can deal with in this way, probably his true self and not whatever fake role he's playing as the priest, is in this sort of like blasé, let's have fun, let's at least enjoy this terrible life if we're going to have to live it kind of way. I get it. Do I agree with it? But let's see. Let's see why people hate you. Oop. Okay, we're cutting. Yeah, I definitely did not read this chapter. This must have dropped like today though, because I swear I looked yesterday to see if there was a new chapter. I didn't see it. But these two. Haven't you had enough to drink? You can tell that you can tell that to this guy. He just loves me so much. Lore and Shrit. Something tells me that there's a reference buried in there that I just don't get. Like the first time I saw this character, my brain went, is this something that I should be understanding? Like sometimes I know there are some characters that are built into a series that are meant to be a reference to something else. My brain is for some reason screaming Samus Aran, but that may just be because Blonde Ponytail. I think that's it. I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like Shrit is a reference to something. Maybe it's the name, maybe it is the design, maybe it's a mix of both. I don't know. She's had too much to drink, hasn't she? I told her to go home. Oh, she's had too much to drink, hasn't she? She's had too much to drink, hasn't she? I told her to go home already. And he welcomes both of them in. Let's see. Wine for the ceremony? Wolf. That's a name, bro. That's a name. Let's see. Lore. Like, once again, with the proper pronunciation of Sensa, I'm presuming that her actual name is pronounced like Lore. Or anything that sounds slightly off despite the initial base name reading. Let's see. Lore, are you sure you want to buy something that important here? I only have cheap stuff. I mean, that's the best kind of stuff you gotta eat. Let's see. Gazelle. Once again, yeah, all these people are named after animals. But I think, is that part of the Shadow Warrior motif? Or is that just because of, like, Frieren's weird naming scheme? I don't know. Let's see. Gazelle, barkeep, or a street vendor. Material value is not important. Only one's faith. So says Father Clematis? I keep saying Clematis. There's no N. Clematis? Clematis has such a silver tongue. He's just being thrifty. Do you want the cheapest one, then? Absolutely not. This is for the Foundation Day ceremony. It cannot be something obviously cheap. And that's real, though. Like, I get it. I get that. We're like, it's for something important. So I want to save money, but I don't want to be poor. I get that. Let's see. I thought material value didn't matter. One critique I have. What is the artist's name? And I love their art style, by the way, to the point where I'm gonna do it. Come here. Come to Papa. You can hide from me. Oh no. Oh, okay, good. Let me see. Is it this one? Yeah. So both of those are my MC. In my art style, and then in the Frieren manga's art style, I do actually like the Frieren manga's art style version of my MC more, or my LC more. It's very specifically based on. It's a super deep. If y'all have any, this video is gonna get like 2 views, and I'm not sure. But once again, I love gambling at this point. I'm having fun with it. But if y'all want lore on this man, just let me know. If he looks familiar, it's because I specifically used the reference of the third great mage as the reference and basis for his facial structure. Because I didn't want to use Frieren's facial structure because I think it's a little bit too round for it. And at the same time, I didn't need to slim it down a little bit because the third great mage also had a pretty round face. But ultimately, I do just like it more, the softer eyes, the gentler contours, and honestly, just the more defined face. Notably, a lot of my faces are kind of just like my art style is very, very simple. If I can even barely call it an art style. And also really just like the ears. The ears are, once again, very, very unique in Frieren. But one critique I do have for Tsukasa Abe-sensei, who is an amazing artist and infinitely better than me. So this really isn't a critique because I, as an inferior artist, cannot critique a superior artist, or at least that's how I feel at the time. But something about the way they draw faces, it sometimes doesn't work. At least for me, there's basically never any complaint about their general design scheme, but I feel like sometimes the faces are too small. Like, I've had the issue before myself where I'll draw like the head shape first and then go in, and then since I'm trying to make sure everything fits within the initial head shape I've drawn, the faces end up coming out small. Where Los doesn't seem to have this issue. Low doesn't seem to have this issue, but the reason he even propped in my mind, Gazelle. Here, his face looks mad small. Mad small. And it, like, I don't know. There's so much empty void here. But the angle's hard to draw, so I don't blame him for that. But this is like a consistent thing. But at the same time, Lore doesn't seem to have a small face here. So it's inconsistent. It is very inconsistent on whether or not Abe Sensei has like the small faces, but sometimes it's there, and it's there often enough that I kind of attributed it to being part of their art style. And that's the thing. If it's a one-off like off panel, then typically I don't bother with it or mention it or as like an aspect of the art style. But considering it's so consistent, and like you'll see it a lot on Frieren, particularly our titular character, it's the one issue I have, especially for a manga that in every other form is genuinely gorgeous. Once again, I don't know what they're feeding these manga artists these days. They're all cooking. But you're both crazy. You know you might be dead in 2 days. Is he intoxicated? Looks like it. One drunkard outside is already enough. Listen, Gazelle, most of our lives are about little everyday moments, you know? You have to do these things right, in case you don't die. They'll come back to haunt me, at least. Which is true. That's the thing, right? I mean, and the Shadow Warrior system itself is interesting. It's just like the Empire is so interesting. I would love to see Flame's current thoughts on it. But both tiers of their law enforcement system, the Shadow Warriors and the main guard force, both are really, really interesting. And honestly, I'm hoping in the great battle against Sete, because obviously it's going to be a great fight, at least from what we saw of what Lo had to do to the previous third Great Mage, who we once again have no scaling for whether or not who's stronger between them and Sete. I'm going to assume it was Sete. The battle's going to be legendary. It's going to be great. So I'm interested to see if the Shadow Warriors are going to have to be forced to collab with the existing guard. And overall, their system is so unique that I'm not shocked that ultimately they're worried about both ends. The ends where they, and the ends where they don't. Let's see. I'm glad you paid your tab, but if you've given me your life savings because you're convinced you're going to die, I can't accept it. It was easy money. I made a few sales on National Foundation Day. Oh no! Because Frieren, she did the tracking spell on those, so they may throw them away. What is it, Lore? What's that? That's what Gazelle owed me. Those are silver. Yep, she noticed. Those are straw silver coins from the Central Land. They have the highest silver content. May I have a look at them? Sure, but why? Now. Uh-oh. Once again, I mean, this one isn't as... That's the thing. It's inconsistent enough that I feel like it's me. It may be me with the whole small face comment. Because I'm trying to look for other examples of it. But Lore doesn't have it here. And these are recently introduced characters. Wolf doesn't have it here either. Let me see. Does Wolf have it here in this initial panel? No, not really. So it may be me. Maybe it's not part of the art style. I'll double check. Once I get to Frieren, I'll see if it's on her face, and sometimes even Fern's face. Let's see. Yeah, no, especially Stark's face. That's why the Stark image I showed you all earlier was basically just a complete rendition of Stark and mostly my art style, with like the hair being a direct rip from Frieren, because I was like, I don't like how he looks. Well, let's see. Sure, but why? As I expected, I sense mana in them. It's a tracking spell. That can't be. No, it's no wonder you didn't notice it. The caster is highly skilled. Silver acts as a catalyst that covers up the mana. Wolf, Gazelle, prepare for battle. Oh, so we lock it in already. Okay. I like it a lot. Okay, but that's interesting though. So Lore is very, very good at sensing magic. Well, actually, you know what? It was the coinage. It was the coinage. Maybe, but then again, it sounds like, at least the way Lore describes it, I'm saying Lore, like that's actually how you pronounce it. Well, like, we don't know. And we will not see. I don't think we're going to get, because I didn't know Madhouse. Was it Mad? Who animated season 1 of Frieren? Gosh darn it. But take a look. Frieren season 1 anime I think it was Madhouse. I remember hearing something about it being Madhouse. Yeah, Madhouse. So like, they went absolutely crazy. But we're not going to see that for a while. We're not going to see season 2 for a while. So I don't expect to get these characters' names properly pronounced for a while. But I'm going to go with Lode just because Zenza threw me off so badly. Like I was calling that character Sense forever and eternity until I heard that clip. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, it's something about Frieren's face in particular, where her facial features, her eyes, her nose, her mouth, they're always just a little bit too small for what should be like the full scope. Like nope. Like I'm gonna mute, if only for the fact that my face is actually kind of chunky. So like, notice how the eyes and like I do have a rather large forehead, and that is not help. I'm gonna get a cut tomorrow, and like I'm gonna beg my barber to like leave some of this, because golly, I should not have darn near. Where's my ruler? I don't have a ruler readily on me, despite being a pencil man, but I do have a protractor. I should not have. Okay, you slippery fool. Let's see. It's darn near. It's like half an inch. I feel like a full inch of hairline missing because he keeps pushing me back, dog. I'm gonna see if he can like clean me up a little bit. So I got a massive forehead. That's on me. But notably, my eyes, my mouth, like it's all pretty sizable. And obviously, you know, people have different facial structures. But Frieren's, it flips inconsistently between being too small for her face and normal size. Let's see. This will be an interesting trio battle, though. 3 randoms, but 3 Shadow Warriors versus the main party. They're all gonna get cooked. Let's see. Mr. Frieren, what's the matter? They've traced it back to me. Oh, so she knows. Okay. This chapter was gas. Especially, this was an accidental live reaction. I'll be completely honest. This was a straight accidental live reaction. Now with JJK being over, right after this video, I'm going to record the final JJK live reaction and then the JJK reviews. I'm thinking, because now the current channel lineup, once again, I'm sorry, I'm talking so much shop in this video. This video probably seems real meta to some of y'all. But let me see, the current lineup now, with the JJK and MHA both gone, I need to start hopping properly back on Record of Ragnarok. I think I'll do the next chapter. But, let's say, Record of Ragnarok. Then I have Ichi the Witch. Then I have 4 Knights. Then I have Tap Dome, Tap Dome, Tap Dome. Ichi the Witch, 4 Knights, Sakamoto Days. Now Frieren. Gachikuda. That's 7 series I'm covering all at once. And I'm once again, I'm flipping back and forth on whether or not I want to add that ninja series that just dropped recently in Shonen Jump. I was going to consider to add that video game series, but I do not like the art style. That's a personal preference. I just don't like the art style. So do I do 8 series? Actually, since like one of them is Boruto as well. So I may add 10 series because at least 3 of those series are like bi-weekly or monthly. I may add One Punch Man too. Once again, I'm in like a weird experimental period now that like a lot of the manga that I cover already are ending. So like I'm thinking a whole lot. But Frieren's being added to the roster. I do this video to get 2 views though. But if you happen to be one of the 2 viewers, then hit the links at the end of this video. Please do me a favor and leave big money. Big money. Big as in the word big, and then money as in the word money in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below, where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get these same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions to every series I happen to review, ad-free variations of all my videos, and you become a $25 patron or a $25 member. You can order whatever video you want. Also, I do have a link to my Ko-Fizzle in the description down below. You can drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That of the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: Sierra, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, NMA, Real Rare, Red Wolf 4765, Paris Arnold, Astro, Brandon Payne, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, Igneal Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $7 members, Autumn Mornings Lazo, Fine, Zombie Hunter, and Austin Wimberly. Then I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha, Jay Warrior, and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $10 patrons, Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami.
And I'd like to give the craziest, juiciest, most next-level, quadruple, sloppy, toppy, next-level superhuman in beyond this world kidney having thank you to our $100 patron, or that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.